Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Kickin' Bass TV. Today's video, we're gonna be talking about the top 5 ways to rig soft plastics from your basic Texas rig setup to your Wacky Rig, Carolina rig, and a couple of other favorites. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below. Let's go. All right, guys, there are a lot of different ways to rig soft plastic baits. Today, we're gonna cover the top 5 most popular. Had a lot of requests for this video. We're gonna cover things like the Texas rig, which is the most popular technique across the board, something I use year round. Then we'll talk finesse techniques like the Wacky Rig, a similar technique known as the Neko Rig. We'll talk about drop shot fishing, and then last but not least, we'll cover the Carolina rig. Let's get right into it with the Texas rig, which is the most popular technique when it comes to rigging soft plastics for bass. I'm gonna start with an offset wide gap hook, run that about 1/8 of an inch into my bait, and once I reach the back of that hook where that offset shank is, you're gonna twist the hook 180 degrees like so, which will provide a flat surface area for that plastic to rest and not slip. From there, you wanna try to rig your plastics as flat and evenly as possible, giving them as natural a profile as possible, especially if you're throwing a worm. And just like this, weightless and weedless, this will catch you bass all day long in the summer. The rest of the year, add 1/8 or 1/4 ounce bullet weight to the profile, peg it with a bobber stopper, and you are money. Now, same can be said for a craw or creature bait. Typically, a 3 or 4/0 hook will suffice. Now, I like to throw a Texas rig craw winter, spring, summer, and fall. This is something that catches me bass all year long. The only difference is most people, to rig it truly Texas rig and 100% weightless, you would have to skin tag the hook back into the bait, but I like to use what is known as the Tex exposed version, leaving the hook exposed, meaning a much better hookup ratio. Now, if you want to take things a step further, one thing I've been using a whole lot more of recently in place of a traditional EWG hook are these owner twist lock hooks, because I get that same Texas rig profile, but it's not going to tear the backs of the baits as easily as a traditional hook tends to do over time, saving me a ton of money on soft plastics. And I have all the confidence in the world that when I do hook up into a big bass, that the extra strength of that larger gauge wire hook is not going to bend out on me. After that, we've got the Wacky Rig, which is a great finesse fishing technique for targeting suspended summer bass or bass that have begun to push into their winter and patterns after the fall transition. And you can either use the O-rings or just simply hook your octopus or sea hook through the center of a traditional stick bait. Just like that, you've got a nice weightless profile that falls ultra slow through the column. Next up, you've got the Neko Rig, which is very similar to the Wacky Rig, but utilizes a nail weight known as a Neko nail. You can either purchase these from tackle supplier, or you can use a basic trim nail or screw that you have lying around the house. The point of this is to achieve an off-balance presentation with your bait. The most commonly used bait with this technique is a longer finesse style worm like we have today. We'll put the weight in the head of the worm, rig it dead center like we did with the Wacky Rig, and we can either fish it that style, only a little faster now because of that added weight, meaning we can cover water quicker, or we can slow it down and that weight will cause the bait to make contact with the bottom and stand on end. Either way, this is a tried and true technique amongst bass fishermen for years. After that, another finesse technique known as the drop shot method that utilizes a weight on the bottom of your line with the hook placed above it so that you can keep your bait suspended in the water. You achieve this by tying your knot through the front of your shank to get your hook upright with the weight below it. Always use a lighter soft plastic for the best action in the water, and then you can either use a specific cylindrical style drop shot weight like this that's a little better at coming through cover, or if you don't have anything else, you can tie any old weight on there. Just make sure that you have a couple of feet between the hook and the weight so that you can make contact with the bottom, all the while keeping your bait moving in the water column. This is a particularly useful method in the summertime when bass can tend to shut down because of the heat, or when bass really start to shut down in the colder fall and winter months. Last but not least, the Carolina rig, which is a little bit more involved, but all you really need are a couple of beads, a weight, a swivel, a hook, and some type of leader line. Typically, I start with a 50 to 65 pound braid for my main line, slide on a rubber bobber stopper to keep the Carolina rig from sliding too far up the line. And then the whole purpose of this rig is to make noise. You achieve that by using both beads and weights together. You can use glass, metal, or plastic beads like we're using today. I'm gonna start with a 6mm bead, slide on my 1/4 ounce or 1/2 ounce egg weight, and then complete the profile with a second bead. And since we're throwing a weightless plastic on the other end of this rig, and that can cause a lot of line twist. The best way to eliminate the line twist is to tie a swivel between that and your leader. So I'm gonna use a Palomar knot. Since we're using braid from the other end, we can go ahead and secure our leader line. Today, we're using a 17-pound Suffix Advanced monofilament because it floats and has all the durability to handle a bigger bass. So that's what you should be left with your basic Carolina rig, something that can make bottom contact. You've got the noise making effect of those beads and weights and the free floating action of that weightless plastic in tow behind it. And that's gonna do it for our top 5 ways to rig soft plastics. In our next video, we'll talk about some other popular techniques such as the Ned rig, the shaky head, and how to rig different types of swim baits. So let us know in the comments down below which of these 5 techniques is your favorite way to fish soft plastic baits. Hopefully this video has helped some of you just getting into it, have a little more confidence to get out and try some of these techniques for yourself and catch some fish. And as always, if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button for me down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because that's the best way to show your support. Make sure you hit that bell notification, because that'll keep you up to date with all our new videos and our giveaways, of which we have one coming up very soon. If you guys are interested in getting your hands on some of our custom soft plastic baits, hit the link in the video description down below. That will take you to our Instagram page where you can see all of our different bait options. Send me a message and I will take care of you guys. Until next time, I'm D with Kickin' Bass TV.
Subscribe!